So I keep saying that people need to learn how to critically think, right? But that's kind of an esoteric idea if you don't know how to do it or if you've never done it before. So I found a way that we could demonstrate it to people because the magas in my life don't really know how to critically think. And this one will be, actually several examples I've got for you, will be perfect for those people, okay? So when I was little, I liked Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers. And on Sesame Street, they would play one of these things is not like the other game, right? So we're going to do that as adults. So like on Sesame Street, it'd be like capital letters, like there's 3 capital letters and 1 lowercase letter. One of these things is not like the others. And you would have to figure out that the lowercase letter was not like the others because it was lowercase when the others were uppercase. So here's an adult version of that. Here are 12 headlines. One of these things is not like the other. Can you tell which one? Hint, it's the one that focuses on the opposition as opposed to focusing on RFK's massive failures of personality and intelligence, right? Yes, it's Fox News. Why is that one different? And those are the things we can talk to our magas about, right? Now, if you have not read the USA Today article, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's hilarious. It's written by Rex Huppel, and it has some of the best one-liners I've ever read. Like this one. Oh, give me a break news. I mean, come on now. I love this. He's a sun-worn leather saddle who became a real boy. And here he's quoting RFK saying, I'm not anti-vax or anti-industry. I'm pro-safety. He likens that to a flat earther saying, I'm not a flat earther or anti-sphere. I just refuse to accept the lies that the big telescope is telling us. Here's a really easy one of these things is not like the others. And you can talk to the magas in your life and say, hey, you follow everything that he tweets, right? Now, here is what he said after the tragic plane crash. This is what he truth socialed or whatever the hell he's doing, right? And then afterwards, they released this statement that allegedly he said, God bless their souls. Thanks for the first responders. One of these things is not like the other. And see, that is critical thought because most of us know what Trump sounds like when he talks or tweets or whatever. And we all can critically think about it and know that that official statement was not at all written by him. Okay, here's the last match for today. You can see here are 12 more headlines about Trump's press conference after the tragic plane crash, right? One of these things is not like the other. One of these things does not belong. Can you detect which one it is? If you guess the one focusing on a tense exchange at the press rally, then you would be right. And if you actually went further in your critical thought and actually read some of these articles, what you would find is that article in particular ended this way. That's a direct quote from Trump. Now, what the real media did, because remember, Fox News admitted under oath that it is not actual news. Under oath, they said they are only entertainment and that only ignorant people could think that they were real news. They ended with a Trump quote that was completely false. I mean, he did say it, but it was stupid and false. Whereas if you read any of the others, and I personally read like 5 of them just to be sure, they all debunked his whole it's DEI. And if your MAGA friends wanted to practice even more critical thinking, they could even look up the stats on air traffic controllers and pilots and see that pilots are made up of at least 84%, if not more, men. And you can see that over 81% are white. You can see that this is not a new phenomenon. Since we know that presidents are in charge of like who runs the FAA and their rules and stuff like that. Trump has shown us that very recently. You can see here that white men made up the majority of Trump's cabinet in his first administration and definitely are doing that again this time. And they're the DEI hires because none of them are qualified. For example, look at this jackass. The new head of the FFA is another Fox Weekend guy. Like, he and Hegseth weren't even good enough to be weekday guys. They're weekend Fox guys, okay? And he said, I want to make it clear, planes falling out of the sky aren't normal. You think? And there's always an inner cabinet of inner advisors. And you can see here that, again, Trump reverted to, like, really old standards. And in his first administration only had white men for the most part. I realize that he's trying to blame everything on Biden, but half the shit that he's blamed on Biden, Biden didn't do. And this whole, they don't even have to pass psychiatric exams. That's bullshit. That's been in place for decades, okay? But I was hoping that these 3 examples would make it easier for you to help teach the MAGAs in your life how to think critically. And one good way of doing that is by asking questions. Educate yourself and then ask them questions. That's how they teach us the law in law school. It's called the Socratic method. You ask questions, forcing them to think, and that's how people learn how to think and reason critically. I will say that I always look at Fox to see how it's spinning things, and then I look at multiple sources on the other side to see what is true. That's how you get through everybody's opinions and get to truth. And one thing I've noticed is all of a sudden, occasionally in the last 10 days, Fox actually reports facts, at least on their website. I can't handle watching their talking heads. But the problem is, I realized last night, even though they reported the facts regarding this governmental law enforcement and attorney purge, what they're not doing is feeding the conclusions necessary to their people. For over 2 decades, they have served, by their own words under oath, as a source of entertainment. They have spoon-fed the less educated among us and the undereducated among us hatred. And now they're like, oh, maybe we're in really deep shit as a country right now. So we'll actually report the facts without our spin. And I congratulate them on doing that. The problem is that you have spoon-fed hatred. These people aren't going to make the connections that they need to make. So to undo what you did, because make no mistake, Fox, a lot of this is on you. You're going to have to spoon feed them what all of this means, because they're not able to take facts and figure out what it means.